afternoon, guys. It's Brian Ebank here. Welcome back, aka Stick, trail name for the Appalachian Trail, and I am so thrilled to have you with us today. Today I am hiking in a state park, Black Rock State Park in Connecticut, and I just have about an hour to kill before sunset, so I am going hiking and moving here. Today I'll be talking a little bit about fears about the Appalachian Trail. I just saw one of my fellow YouTubers who's going to hike the Appalachian Trail talk about fears that he has, and I have 9 fears that I want to share with you guys. Before I do, I just want to say a word on, let's see where I'm at. I just want to say a word on the past uploads that I just have uploaded in the past, like 24 hours or so, maybe a little bit more. Had a couple of recent uploads go up that I didn't expect to be super popular, but I was just trying to document and also clear up my phone of past trips that I've been on, because I had a few long videos, first of all, that I'm trying to clear up memory of my phone, so I wanted to post that somewhere so that I could reference that or see that in the future, so I wouldn't completely lose that when I deleted it from my phone. And the second off thing I did was do a few little shorts, because YouTube's been pestering me about, you should try a short, you should try YouTube shorts and such. I'm like, I don't know, I haven't done a short before, I don't even know what they were, I haven't even heard about them before I got back and being active here in the channel. So I'm like, well, I guess, what is a short, a minute or less? So I'll try posting a few of the short videos that I had taken that I think might be semi-interesting, and just see what happens from that. So that's what I've been doing the past day or so, just testing out the waters a little bit there. But I promise you guys, the next half year, this will be a AT, Appalachian Trail focused channel, preparing for it and everything that comes with that. There are so many trail choices here. That's the way I came. There's also a trail, I guess, red markers that way. And there's a trail this way. I'm taking the blue trail, following the Connecticut's Blue Blaze hiking system. But even just a few yards, 100 yards back, I crossed a whole bunch of trails and I had to stop and say, okay, which way am I supposed to do? Which way am I supposed to go, rather? I'm going blue trail. Yip, yip. You guys, it looks kind of flat on the screen, but this is actually kind of steep up here. I kind of like it. This is the first time I've done this trail, and I'm excited to find a new challenge. Maybe I'll come back here if it goes well. Hey guys, it's Dick here, and I want to address the first concern, the first fear that I have about hiking the AT this upcoming spring, 2024. AT, short for Appalachian Trail. And the first concern that I have about my hike is not having enough time. So, the reason I'm starting on February the 23rd is because I have an online class from that Monday to Wednesday. So, it's like the 18th through the 20th of February. I have an online class that I'm supposed to take through the church. So, I am leaving as soon as I can after that. Taking the train down on the 22nd, and then starting off my hike on the 23rd from Amicalola Falls State Park. And then I am planning to hike, well, I'm planning to work at the Boy Scout camp again in summertime as the climbing director, which I thoroughly enjoy. So that gives me until June 20th to finish my Appalachian Trail through hike. So I have an approximate window of about 120 days, which is fast. It requires me to cover a little more than 20 miles per day on average. I set out a plan to accomplish the Appalachian Trail in 120 or 112 days with about 8 days of leeway room. So perhaps one of my bigger fears is not having enough time to complete the Appalachian Trail. But the way I'm going to deal with that is by still being happy if I complete a large portion of the trail and don't have enough time to finish the whole thing. I may, after camp is over, if I haven't finished, I can always go back in August or September and finish it, and it still counts as a through hike. So I have that going for me. This is actually very steep, so I'm going to stop for a bit. The second piece is that it was never on my bucket list to complete the whole Appalachian Trail in one go. I wanted to hike the whole Appalachian Trail but I envisioned that I'd do it in sections. And as the year came up, I was starting to think that it might be a good opportunity to do a huge section of trail. And then as I explored the groups more and more, I'm like, why don't I just try to make it a through? So it was not my original goal to through the AT, but that has become very attractive to me, and I like to do that. So my concern is not having enough time in the 120-day window that I do have, but I am rectifying that, or being okay with that, by knowing that that wasn't my original goal in the first place, and I can be happy with whatever outcome that I have. People, look at this. Do you see this mountainside? It's actually crazy. Well, you guys, I already took the wrong trail. Not that it's the wrong trail, but it's not the trail I was intending on taking to see the caves. I guess I wasn't supposed to be on the blue. It was supposed to be on some other trail. Like I said earlier, there's a whole bunch of trails going every which way. And I didn't take the one I wanted, but I'm going to continue descending up this blue trail now because I don't want to undo all that work I did just climbing up this hill. There's still a loop that I can make because I have the trail map downloaded on all trails. So I'm good. I'm not lost. I just took a different trail than I intended. So with that, I'm going to go into the second concern that I have about the Appalachian Trail this winter. And that is because I'm starting in February, I have the slight concern of being too cold. And many do. But I'm going to have extra weight with me. So extra warmth with me. Yes, I have extra weight in the pack, but that equates to extra warmth, and sleeping is super important. I don't want to be shivering at night, so it is really worth making sure that I have enough warm material to bring. And I am going to test it on a shakedown hike sometime in January. Not exactly sure when, but when I get the actual pack that I'm using from where it currently is, where I used to live, I will be testing out the gear and making sure that I am not cold in the middle of January. So that's still upcoming when I do my shakedown hike somewhere. I'll still figuring out the details on that. And hopefully then I will resolve my fear of being too cold.
And it was a beautiful day out today for this too.
It is a beautiful day. Just looking at where we came from.
I know.
Down at the parking lot there.
Right?
We came up, I came up a steep climb, and I'll see how steep it is on the way down.
Yeah, not too bad.
But the sun hitting the hills there looks just right. Beautiful view. So glad I came to do this today. This spot is just so beautiful, guys. Look at this. Look at this background. This is just thrilling. It's just amazing. This is why we hike. This is why we hike up these hills, for views like what's behind me. It's gorgeous. So with this view behind me, guys, I will talk about the third fear that I, or many, potentially have, and that is animals. Animals at night, or any kind of animals you might come across, but especially at night. Bears, snakes hidden in rocks, also mice. There could be a lot of mice in shelters, and perhaps one of the most potentially dangerous is ticks. So things like bears could obviously attack you if you're aggressive, but as long as you're not aggressive, bears will usually leave you alone. So you should be okay on bears as long as you alert them of your presence as you're coming up. Don't surprise them, and don't get between a mama bear and their cub. Don't seem aggressive. Don't try to rush at them or something like that. Just don't behave aggressively against bears, and you should be fine. Most attacks that bears have against humans are started by the human being foolish. So just don't be that foolish human, and you should be good against the bears. One thing that I do when I do encounter bears, they have encountered bears before, is just kind of start talking to the bear. Not that the bear's gonna understand me, but it can understand my tone of voice, and also help me to convince myself that, hey, I'm not afraid. I am not afraid of the bear. The bear and I are just sharing the same woods, and actually talking calmly helps me be calm too. Because I know that bears can interpret fear as aggression, so I don't want to show fear either. As far as snakes, there's a lot of rocks in the AT, and snakes love to hide in rocks. So I am afraid of poking one with a trekking stick, or stepping on one with all these rocks. But I don't really think I can do anything to prevent that from happening, so I just need to pay attention to my surroundings, and I'm okay with that. I have to take some risk on the trail. As far as mice, people say that mice like to chew through their gear and things in the shelters. But I've spoken to some others and who haven't had that problem, so I guess just be mindful of it. Some people don't like to stay in shelters because of mice in shelters, but I've spent a few nights in shelters and haven't had a problem with it yet, so I'll just play that one by ear. As far as ticks, I'll be hiking in the cold, so I'll be able to wear long pants through long grass, so that should help. And I'll also wear something like a ball cap or a knit hat or something like that to prevent ticks from falling on my head. Also in the wintertime, I think ticks are less out there, so hopefully I'll have less exposure to them. But the big concern is that they can cause Lyme disease, which has taken hikers off the trail. So definitely be aware of the smallest creatures of all in ticks. Number 4 is someone messing with your stuff. Many people are afraid that someone might mess with their stuff, whether it be leaving something at a trailhead. I wouldn't leave a pack or anything at a trailhead or in front of a store or something before you go in. Don't tempt somebody. But those are like in the actual real world. Actually, on the trail itself, I trust hikers, fellow hiker family, more than I trust a random stranger at the supermarket or somewhere in town or something like that. Since 1974, there have been 13 murders on the trail, but that's very, very low. And of course, some crime is going to happen wherever you go. So I'm not too concerned about that. I trust my fellow hiker family. We support each other. We're there for each other. We'll form a tight-knit community. Number 5 is storms, especially lightning on ridges. You do not want to be on a ridge when it is lightning out. You want to try to get to low ground, get to a depression, and do not be in open fields. So try to get to a shelter or somewhere that you can be safe from lightning. I am afraid of being caught on top of a ridge line in a lightning storm, because where are you gonna go? You're gonna go all the way back down the hill from where you came. You're gonna try to book it across the ridge to get to your next shelter. I don't really know how I'll deal with that yet. I'll figure it out when I get there. So that definitely remains one of my major fears that I'm going to have to figure out how to do in the time that when it presents itself. And I'm walking again down this blue trail. Watch yourself, don't fall over the cliff. Where am I going? Not down there, I'm going back up here. Hey guys, as I continue walking, I want to talk about the 6th fear that I or many others often have, and that is food supply. Sometimes you might even say TP supply or toilet paper supply too, but I'm mainly focusing, I did pack a lot of toilet paper in my pack because that is one of my fears, is running out and not knowing what to do with that, but hopefully I can get some and resupply. But anyway, in terms of food supply, food weighs a lot, and it can be a lot of weight to pack your fear in a lot of extra food. But I hear that a lot of people start out at Springer Mountain with much more food than they ever will go through before they reach the first 30-mile resupply at Neal Gap. So I am conscious of that, and I don't want to pack too much food, but I also don't want to run out of food because I recognize that I'm going to be burning so many more calories than my body is used to burning, and I want to make sure that I don't go hungry either. I think I can make the first 30 miles even if I do run short on food, but I want to be careful with that because I'm putting my body through something I've never put it through before, a long-term, very long-term hiking trek. So I'm not exactly sure what the balance I'll reach with that is yet and how I'm going to handle the food. So that remains one of my fears, and I will see how that goes when I start the trail. And you guys will come along with me, I hope, if you want to. 7th, I have, which I've already been a little afraid of as I go down the steep embankment, Also, when I've done some hikes at Sleeping Giant, I have already slipped once or twice before. So I am afraid of falling. Even though I am young and able-bodied, I can fall and hurt myself. That happens. And if I fall and slip, I can hurt myself so that I have to come off trail for either a short time or for the rest of the year, both of which I do not want to happen. That can end a hike depending upon the nature of the fall. In addition to injury, you can have illness. I can get sick. Norovirus is something that goes around through hikers sometimes. Or Lyme disease, which I mentioned earlier. Or any sort of disease that happens from malnutrition or anything that might be going around through hikers. So, how am I going to deal with that? I'm going to listen to my body. Even though I want to finish in 120 days, which I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I need to listen to my body and not push myself, because if I push myself to do too many miles, too many days in a row, I can push myself to injury. So I'd rather go farther and not finish than push myself in the first month and have to end there. So I'll see how that balance reaches when I start as well. And again, I hope you guys come with me as I work out those details. So pacing myself, and also to avoid illness, I'm going to be filtering my water. I'm never going to drink from a spring or a water source without filtering it. I have my Sawyer squeeze, and I'm planning on bringing it. I'm going to make sure it doesn't freeze, because then it won't work properly. And I also have hand sanitizer that I'm going to bring after to use before I eat. And I'll get more as I need it at resupplies. So hopefully that will prevent me from getting injured or ill. But I know that you can't predict the trail, and the trail has so many things in store that we can never know. Even from doing all the preparation and watching so many AT through hikers before you, trail changes. It's a thing. Now I have this beautiful gravel roadway to walk on, so I don't have to worry about falling as much as I go to my 8th fear that I have, and or that many people do have. And this is a major fear. It is self-doubt, or the fear of self-sabotage. It is reverting to self-limiting thought when faced with relentless, cold, rainy, potentially even snowy weather, mind you, physical pain or exhaustion that we can deal with on the trail, injury, illness, even loneliness. I've had moments in my life, plenty of them, where I have been lonely, and you know it can happen on the trail as well, such as when you don't have a family or a trail family. The mind can and will weigh in very heavily. So, recognize that less than favorable days will happen, and remind yourself to confront this. Why am I doing this? How will I feel if I do not complete the trail? Like I said earlier, I am going to be okay if I don't complete the trail, because that was never my bucket list goal. It was my bucket list goal is to complete the whole AT sometime. It'd be great if I can through it, but if I can't, I won't be super disappointed. At least that's what I'm thinking right now. But know that the mental game is one of the toughest games you can have. So work on that. You can't prepare for it. It's just gonna happen. Look at this map, guys. This is where I started, and I went on this blue trail, and then I went up this way to the lookout, and I'm now here, and I'm gonna take this red trail back to make that loop. But the direction that I wanted to go to get to Leatherman's is this way. That was my original goal, but it looks like it was a longer loop anyway, so maybe it's better I do that when I have a little bit more time, because it's already like a mile and a half to get to Leatherman's, which I think I could have done fine. But this just gives me a reason to come back here and do that part of the blue trail next time. Not a bad thing. You look it. It's a river. Oh wait. This is the actual trail. The trail follows a river. Yay! 5 minutes later, still following the river. I'm coming down the hill now on the red trail. I left the river, And I just want to say a word about how thankful I am for All Trails in this moment. I downloaded, or I didn't even need to download it. I had Wi-Fi enough to stay connected. But I had the All Trails map on my phone, and I was following that gravel road, and I didn't think that the river off to the side of the trail was gonna be the trail. So I just kept walking down that gravel road, and then I looked at my All Trails map, and it's like, you're not following the red trail. And I'm like, oh, so I doubled back, and then I saw the red trail marker going down the river. So thankful for All Trails for guiding me on the right path and keeping me on the right path, just like Far Out's gonna do on the actual AT itself. As I start concluding my video, I want to note the final fear that I have about the Appalachian Trail, and that is during the last part of the AT hike. Mostly in Maine, but it could be anywhere, but mostly in Maine because it'll be May and June when snowmelt is happening. One of my biggest fears then is the water crossings. I've heard there are a lot of water crossings in Maine where you have to ford across the river, sometimes getting up to waist deep. And my concern is if there's a lot of snow and there's a lot of snowmelt going on, those rivers could be really high, and there might not be an obvious way to cross those rivers. So I am a little concerned about that and how I'm going to work that out, but I guess that's just a future problem because it's later in the trail and I'll just see how it is when I get there. But it's definitely going to be in my mind while I am hiking the trail. Guys, that's probably going to conclude the video there. Instead of commenting just like one word like fear or something, I want you to comment on which of the 9 fears I listed do you think would be your greatest fear? Or do you have another fear that you have about the Appalachian Trail, or that you would have for me, like that you'd be afraid that I would encounter that I might not be prepared for? Please comment those things, comment your fears in the wilderness, or what you might be afraid of if you were doing a hike in the wilderness, and let me know, and let's keep the conversation going. Thank you all for watching to the end of this video, guys. Be blessed and a blessing, and a hike on. Happy trails. I just want to show you guys this lovely little campground here. This is so nice. A road you can drive up, and little picnic tables and fire pits and flat spots to put your tent. Such a beautiful area, and big open sky to stargaze. Ah, lovely. Lovely place.